welcome back to Intelligent Faith 315. This is Pastor Jay. As you can see behind me today, we're continuing on with another feature of our universe, feature number 3 that needs to be explained about the universe that we observe, the fine-tuning of our universe. I believe this is part 5 of our series, God, the Best Explanation. Now, if you remember, we've been covering numerous features in this series. We've been talking about the existence of the universe and the beginning of the universe. These cry out for an explanation. In other words, any good worldview that you hold to as the listener, if your religion, if your philosophy, if your perspective on reality is a good one, it's going to be able to explain a wide range of features that we can see in reality. If your worldview either doesn't explain or doesn't give a good explanation, then your worldview should be abandoned and you should desert that worldview in favor of another one that can give a more potent and powerful explanation. So I do encourage you as the viewer, what is your worldview, your religion, your philosophy, your outlook on the universe, on life itself? And can it explain, can it give a deep, satisfactory, sufficient explanation for all of these? And many of our viewers, I've been very shocked to say that, well, my worldview doesn't have to explain any of these things. Kind of a refusal to think about the issues and a refusal to engage in kind of mental work yourself. Well, in one sense, you're right. Your worldview doesn't have to explain anything. But if you want it to be a good worldview, if you want it to be a logical, reasonable, plausible worldview, a worldview worth having, well then, my friend, it does need to explain it. And not only explain it, but explain it adequately and sufficiently, as many features as possible. So we've been talking about some of the features that need to be explained, such as the existence of the universe. Why is there anything rather than nothing? This needs to be explained through your perspective, your philosophy, your outlook on life. This is one of the deepest questions that we have as human beings. Why is there anything rather than nothing? And of course, this does get into philosophy, because beyond how you describe the universe in its physical construction scientifically, this of course would ask the question, well, why is it the case that anything exists rather than nothing? How could that even be? Why is it like that? Feature number 2 that we've also done a couple of episodes about, the beginning of the universe. We know that from numerous discoveries of 20th and 21st century science that the universe began a finite time ago, and this cries out for an explanation. If everything that begins to exist has a cause, and if the universe began to exist a finite time ago, well, the universe has a cause. And again, if you are going to postulate or say that the universe didn't have a beginning, that the universe is eternal in the past, and there's an infinite regress going backwards, well, you're just setting yourself up against the vast body of scientific and empirical observations that have been done. You can claim to that opinion, you can hold to that opinion, but you can't call it a scientific opinion, because all of the science and all the observation we've done in the 20th and 21st century do powerfully and persuasively point to the scientific fact of the beginning of our universe, and this cries out for an explanation. Feature number 3, which we started last time, is the fine-tuning of the universe. This is a very important feature that needs to be explained, and so again, I just ask you, number 1, are you aware of the fine-tuning of our universe? You as the viewer, what do you know about this area? Do you believe, do you understand how finely tuned our universe is for the emergence of life? That we live in a life-permitting universe versus a life-prohibiting universe. Now perhaps you say, well, fine-tuning is an illusion, fine-tuning isn't reality, that doesn't exist, I don't believe in that. Well, you would disagree with Stephen Hawking, my friend, because Stephen Hawking, he has said this. Stephen Hawking has estimated that if the rate of the universe's expansion, this is known as the cosmological constant, the rate at which the universe expands, if the rate of the universe's expansion 1 second after the Big Bang had been smaller by even 1 part in 100,000 million, the universe would have recollapsed into a hot fireball. So at least that one aspect, that one quality of our universe, the cosmological constant, Stephen Hawking himself, he understands that it is finely tuned. Now, Stephen Hawking is himself an agnostic or an atheist, but he does acknowledge that the fine-tuning of the universe is a reality, it's real, and it does need an explanation. British physicist P.C.W. Davies, he has calculated the odds against the initial conditions being suitable for star formation is followed by 1,000 billion zeros at least. Did you hear that? That the initial conditions when the universe sprang into existence at the Big Bang, that it would be suitable for later star formation, for matter to be able to attract and coalesce together. The odds of that happening randomly, or I should say, I guess the fine-tuning, the specification of that condition is 1 followed by 1,000 billion zeros at least. He also estimates that a change in the strength of gravity or a change in the weak force, the atomic weak force, by only 1 part in 10,100 would have prevented a life-permitting universe. And also Roger Penrose of Oxford University, very well-known intellectual, has calculated the odds of the Big Bang's low entropy condition existing by chance are on the order of 1 out of 10 to the 10th power to the 123rd power. So again, this fine-tuning, whether it's Stephen Hawking, P.C.W. Davies, Roger Penrose of Oxford University, is acknowledged by virtually all good scientists today, whether they are theistic or non-theistic. And so I just want you as the viewer to come to grips with that. And as we said before, the numbers vary, but there are somewhere between at least 35, some people would even say 50 qualities, 50 constants. These are aspects of our universe when we assign them mathematical value that they cannot differ. These are constants of nature, and they have been precisely finely tuned to an incomprehensible degree. About 35 to 50 of these qualities that exist. And again, this cries out for an explanation. How is it the case? Why is it the case that the universe is so finely tuned? As we talked about last time, there's 3 basic options. We can say that the fine-tuning of the universe is due to either physical necessity, to chance, or to intelligent design. Last time, we helped you understand physical necessity is not a good option. You can, of course, claim that, but it's not a very good claim. It's not very plausible. To say that the fine-tuning of the universe is necessary physically is to say that the fine-tuning, the exact way the universe is today, it couldn't have been any other way. Not just to permit life, but it just couldn't have been any other way, period. The way the universe is today is necessary. And again, as we said, if that is the case, if this version of the universe is the only physically necessary, or is the only physically possible option, that it is physically necessary, well, that in and of itself would be very strong evidence for design by a creator. But again, most people don't hold to that. I don't hold to that. Just logically, we can conceptualize, we can think of a universe that could have been different. A different number of quarks, a different number of atoms. There could be a huge number of features about our universe that could have been different. Now, those universes would, almost all of them, have been life-prohibiting, but nonetheless, the universe could have been different. P.C.W. Davies, commenting on this question of, is our universe physically necessary, he said this. P.C.W. Davies writes, and again, remember, he's a British physicist. He says, even if the laws of physics were unique, it doesn't follow that the physical universe itself is unique. In other words, it doesn't follow that this universe has to be the way it is by physical necessity. The laws of physics must be augmented by cosmic initial conditions. There is nothing in present ideas about the laws of initial conditions that remotely to suggest that their consistency with the laws of physics would imply uniqueness. He says, far from it. He says, it seems then that the physical universe does not have to be the way it is. It could have been otherwise. And so this option of physical necessity isn't really a good option to explain away the fine-tuning of the universe. So then we go to option number 2, chance. Is chance a good explanation of the fine-tuning of our universe? Well, as I said, there are different numbers that people have come to when you talk about the quantities and the different attributes, I guess, of our universe in terms of physics and mathematics and the constants that we have recognized. The number is as low as 35 or as high as 50. Dr. Craig, for example, he writes this, that out of the 50 known variables being finely tuned, if each variable had only a 50% chance of being its actual value, it's less than 3 out of 10 to the 17th power. So in other words, if you take all 50 variables that we know to be true about our physical universe, the chances of them coming together randomly, accidentally, even if there was only a 50% chance of it being its actual value, the chances of that happening for all 50 values would be less than 3 out of 1 with 17 zeros behind it. Now, you got to ask yourself, how big of a number is that? How big of a number is 1 times 10 to the 17th power, 1 with 17 zeros behind it? Well, this has actually been done. These kind of numbers are so huge and so large that word pictures have actually been figured out to give people a realistic picture of how improbable and amazing that would be. So this is what they've actually calculated. If you covered the entire state of Texas 2 feet deep with silver dollars, that is 1 times 10 to the 17th power. The biggest geographical state in America, in the Union, covered with silver dollars. And as he said here, the fact that the 50 variables that he knows about to come out randomly by chance at the value necessary, even if there was only 50-50 and it could have gone either way, the chance that that would happen for all 50 variables would be less than 3 out of 1 times 10 to the 17th power. So imagine again the state of Texas 2 feet deep with silver dollars. And out of the entire state of Texas, there are only 3 of them that, let's say, have been painted red. You're blindfolded and you're asked to walk through the state of Texas blindfolded, and you get 1 shot, well, I guess you get 3 shots to pick up the 3 painted silver dollars. And that's all you get. And so the odds that you could walk through the entire state of Texas for a couple of years and on your first 3 attempts pick up each of the 3 is absolutely, it's unbelievable. That would be absolutely incredible. That couldn't happen randomly, accidentally, by chance. We all know from our common experience that if we ever observe that happening, that would be so unlikely, it would just boggle your mind. But again, that is the likelihood of these 50 qualities about the universe having their current values accidentally, if there was only a 50-50 likelihood of it going either way. But of course, it's not a 50-50 likelihood. But if it was, well, it's still less than 3 times 10 to the 17th power. Pretty incredible. Now, you have to realize that the problem with the chance alternative, it's that the odds against it are so incomprehensibly great that they cannot be reasonably faced. Students or people who just blindly assert that it could have happened by chance simply have no conception of the fantastic precision, of the fine-tuning required for life. They would never embrace such a hypothesis in any other area of their lives. And this is true. Dr. Craig, I believe here, is right. And what he's basically saying is that people just say, well, it just happened by chance, not a big deal, the dice just happened to fall the right way. People would never, we would never, in our common experience, say that about other things. For example, what we're saying here is not just that it's improbable. That's not just what the argument is. It's not just that the quantities and the constants of the universe and the initial conditions are just improbable to have their current necessary values. But it's also improbable on top of the fact that there has to be a specified value. In other words, we're not just talking about an improbable event. We're talking about an event that actually happened that is improbable, number one, but the number two, it actually falls within a very narrow range of specified necessity. So the argument can be made, and many people say this, that, well, any event is improbable. And you can make a good argument for that. The fact that I am here recording this video and that you happen to be at your computer at this very moment or watching it on your mobile device, that event in and of itself is improbable. So you could make that argument that through the laws of probability that any event could be improbable in and of itself. But that's not what the argument is. The argument is that these actual constants and values are improbable, number one, but number two, there is specified improbability. In other words, these values, they are according to a very narrow range of conditions that is necessary for life. So they're improbable in and of themselves, but then number two, they match up to a required pattern of specification. In other words, let's put it like this. Imagine if tomorrow morning you wake up and you go into your bathroom, and on your mirror there is, let's say, with your soap bar, something has been written on your mirror. Now, number one, that kind of an event is very improbable in and of itself. The fact that you would wake up in the morning, walk into your bathroom, and there would be any type of soap residue, I'm talking from the bar of soap, written on your mirror, the fact that that would happen is very improbable in the first place. But what I'm talking about is, what if you went into your bathroom and on your mirror is written with the soap bar a message that shows specificity, a message that kind of accords to a very specific pattern. For example, you walk in and it doesn't just have some type of soap residue on your mirror, but it says something like, I was here last night and I almost killed you. I'm coming back tonight. Now, honestly, if you woke up as the viewer and you walked into your bathroom and you saw that written out through a bar of soap on your mirror, you would never in a million years, if you are honest, would you ever just dismiss that as random chance, as the molecules of soap randomly moving around and bumping into each other and just chaotically not only hitting your mirror, but also arranging themselves to a preconceived pattern, a specified pattern, a message that would say that sentence to you. You would never say that, because you know from your common experience in the universe, in the world, that that type of an event is considered as fine-tuning. Why? Because number one, it is improbable, and number two, it is specified. So you have improbability plus specificity. So this is what you could call specified improbability. So this is why the fine-tuning of the universe, and actually so much fine-tuning, whether it's at the universal level, the terrestrial level, the biological level, or the informational level, that's why so many versions of this argument are so incredibly powerful, because it's not only specificity, but it's also improbability. It's a double-layered argument, and so it makes it very, very potent, very, very difficult to explain away. Well, I've kind of gone over my time. I apologize. We're going to get into this next time, and we're going to continue on. We're going to read through some actual numbers, some specified values that have to take place and be there for the numerous values that we hold to in physics in the universe. We'll talk about the multiverse theory. Is that a good theory to hold to when we come back next time? We'll hope you'll join us then. Until then, have an intelligent day.